you will never sell at a high level until you put the blame on yourself and you just realize, like, I do not have the skill to write 50K months. I don't have the skill to write 70K months or a 400K year. Instead of like blaming the system and the leads and everyone else, it's like, hey, I had to look myself in the mirror and say, look, dude, you don't have the skill that it takes to write at this level. So you can do one of two things.
All right, shoot, 400K since July, dude. Or wait. 400K through July.
Yeah. Since July would be crazy.
What do you say to the people that said you're just writing your family policies?
I'd say a lot of that is true.
Yeah.
No, not actually. Actually, no, I wrote my brother a policy. I think
Luke?
It was for like a solid like 300 AP.
Let's go.
So nothing too crazy.
Full accidental death and dismemberment. Let's go.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, shoot, dude. I thought having a Hall of Fame year was impressive, but having a Hall of Fame half year also pretty cool. How's it feel?
It is cool. I've kind of noticed a lot of people idolize the whole Hall of Fame thing, and so
yeah.
I mean, it was my goal this year to do at least 600,000, and I'm not gonna lie, it definitely scared me a lot. I didn't know if that was gonna even be possible to do that, but yeah, I mean, it's been cool. I mean, I just feel honestly super blessed. Like, I'm just kind of showing up, doing my job, doing my thing, not really doing anything too special, and
Yep.
you know, seems like things are just kind of working out great. So yeah, no, it feels really good. It's cool.
Let's go. I think everybody's curious what the system is, because, you know, it's like you get all these people that are writing a bunch of business and they talk about mindset, and we can talk about that, or like schedule and all that stuff. But why don't you I would like to know what the day-to-day is. Like, we can go back to where that started, to where you created the goal of 600K and why. And then we can start from there and then kind of walk us through like how you actually did it and how you planned it out. I think that'd be helpful for everybody, because there's a lot of people out there that are struggling to write 10K in a month, 20K every month, you know? And so going from 20K every month to like 20K every week seems like a big jump, you know? And I know you were month 6 in the business when you came up with that goal of 600 grand?
Yeah.
So walk us through that. What made you want to pick 600?
I mean, I would just say, like, you guys that were here, there was only like a couple people that were here before I joined, and you know, it was you, Logan, and Austin, and you guys had all hit Hall of Fame, and
yeah.
I think Austin had done like 600K, somewhere in that range, at least,
Yeah.
like 600 to 700. So like I said, the goal definitely scared me, but I kind of just figured, I'm like, hey, if I'm doing the same thing that these guys are doing, if I'm willing to put in all of the work, and then on top of that, I guess, do as much as I can to gain the skill. That's like a big thing I tell people all the time, is it's like, people aren't writing the numbers they are because it's luck or because they have some magical system or it's because they do something so much different. Like, you will never sell at a high level until you put the blame on yourself and you just realize, like, I do not have the skill to write 50K months. I don't have the skill to write 70K months or a 400K year. And so the reality is like, I had to sit with myself in the first 6 months in the business. I never wrote over 40K in a month. And so instead of like blaming the system and the leads and everyone else, it's like, hey, I had to look myself in the mirror and say, look, dude, you don't have the skill that it takes to write at this level. So you can do one of two things. You can either continue to do what you do and probably get what you've always gotten, or you're probably naturally going to get a little bit better at selling as you go on, or you can speed run this and do some training, do something that's going to actually help you. So I don't think it's a mystery that, like, in December, before this year started, I had signed up to do Jeremy Miner's top training program, and that was like what I was doing for the first couple months of this year, and it has completely changed the trajectory of my sales. So
That's great. So, and how much did you invest in that program at the time?
yeah, so it was $16,000, and like
For most people, they're like, damn, 16 grand, that's how much I've made this year. You know?
And so, like, I'm not gonna lie, it definitely wasn't the biggest, just like, oh, I'm so excited to spend 16,000. But once again, it's like, you can either take advice or you can just do the same stuff that you've always done. And it's like, I knew I wasn't where I needed to go. That was my vehicle of being like, I actually think this is gonna help me gain the skills that I need to be able to produce at a higher level. And then thankfully it worked. And like, the truth is that stuff like that does work if you just do it and actually implement what you're doing. And so it's not that much of a mystery. I didn't just magically figure it out. It's like there was a couple tweaks that I needed to make, a couple things that I needed to learn to really understand this thing. And then once I understood it, it just kind of takes off. So,
Man, there's a million different ways that we could go with that. You could go from, well, how did you get over that hump of doubt? And was it just investing in something to that level of like that forced you, like, I need to hit some big numbers because I'm about to invest 16 grand? Or do you think that's the reason why you invested 16 grand is because you knew that would force you to hit those numbers? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, was it after the fact or before? Because that's not something that, obviously that's not in-house. It's not free. It's looking for something outside of just the people in this room obviously have a lot of knowledge, but sometimes just making a big investment into something can drive you to do something big because now you have some serious skin in the game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think it's both, honestly. Like, it's funny because the guys who do training and coaching, like, they'll talk about that. They're like, we set a high price point because it's in the best interest of our clients. It's like, if you're spending $1,000 to do something, it's pretty easy to do it a couple days and then just be like, I don't really feel like doing this. But when you put a pretty big investment down, yeah, it gives you skin in the game. And it's like, I better get out of this what I put into this, or this is going to be a really bad take. And like, that's just how I operate best, is having my back against the wall. And I loved the idea, and it just like, it gives you hope. Like, I'm so big on like, yes, you do have to have the skill, and like the mental piece is important too, but I just kind of knew that if I started doing something like that, yeah, I was going to learn some stuff technically. Yeah, it was going to help me be a better salesperson, but I think it was just going to give me the ability to think like, I actually should be producing at a higher level now that I'm doing something like this.
Yeah.
Which just, I think it just builds your confidence and just your overall like aura when you're on the phone. It's like I'm just like a big learn by osmosis guy. So if I'm watching these videos, if I'm learning these things, my brain's just going to be turned on a little bit more when I'm talking on the phone with someone and I'm trying out like, oh, cool, let me try like kind of saying it like this to this person.
Yeah.
And it turns it to more of a game. And then you're actually chasing something, and you're actually like, your mind is set on trying to figure out how to win this phone call.
Yeah.
And like, that's
instead of just like, oh, another Prezzo.
Exactly.
You know, same work. Do you think it was the course and the mindset that helped you, or do you think it was because you bought that chair?
It could be the chair, guys. I got this chair, and let me tell you,
pretty
like,
sick chair.
It's been helping ever since.
You're
so,
like Batman, dude.
We're sitting down
Batman
all day.
down in the cave. Let's go. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. So just to like materialize everything. So then you set the goal. You got the course. Obviously, it's like we could go into all the technical things that you learned of, tonality, how to talk to people on the phone, overcoming objections. I think we should start first with like the fundamentals and like the baseline, which has been, I feel like, your schedule. Mm-hmm. So what's your schedule?
Yeah. So the schedule has never deviated from when I started this job. Like, I'm just a big believer in, if you're not working the hours, then there's just no way it's going to work out. So what that looks like for me is like, I'm here in the office every day, no matter what, from Monday through Friday. And I am dialing by 9 a.m. and I am not leaving here until at least 6, sometimes like 6:30. Mm-hmm. And what that realistically looks like during the day is, it's a mix of like, I've got appointments that I've got to call, but I'm also just dialing up my lead sheet. And so yeah. I think a big thing that helped me is I don't give a ton of power to my appointments. I don't treat appointments like they're a much better prospect than just a random lead on my lead sheet is. So if there's 5 minutes until an appointment, I'm going to call those leads on my lead sheet all the way up until when the appointment starts. And some people are like, oh, I'm just going to like wait for 5 minutes for this appointment, until you find out that you wait 5 minutes for the appointment and then they don't pick up the phone, and then you're just killing all of your momentum in your flow state.
100%.
So
yeah.
For me, it's like, I don't really care about, being on the phone with them right that second. If I get a hold of someone else 2 minutes before and I'm able to sell them, then I'll call the person back and say, hey man, sorry, I got caught up on a call. You still good now? And then half the time they go, honestly, man, that works out great. I was running a little bit late anyways.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
So that to me is schedule. It's like, what hours are you actually working versus what hours are you saying that you're in the office? You know what I mean? It's like, when I'm working, I am calling people back to back to back to back to back, appointment, boom, back to back to back to back. It's not a stand up and go do this. I'll take a lunch break. Like from 12 to 1, I go get lunch. I do my thing. And
yep.
That kind of helps me reset. But when I'm here and I'm working, I'm working. Like we are 1099. It doesn't really make sense to me that we are just sitting around in an office clocking in. Yeah, I worked 9 hours today, and like you just didn't. So
Yeah. So I think that's interesting because like when we were selling books, it'd be like, oh, referrals. You know, you got to get referrals. Or like, oh, I've got this appointment. You know, when you're new.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, dude, it's for sure. Like I'll go to the house at 5. Like they're definitely gonna buy, and then they're not even there. They're home, but they're hiding.
Yeah.
And then slowly you realize you're like, oh, just whoever's home who has, in that job, whoever has a family, with people that needed education. But in this job, I think that's huge, dude. Like not relying on your appointments. I remember when I first got a dialer the first time for 2 weeks, I was thinking, oh, dude, life's going to be easy. I'm just going to rip these appointments, in between I'll be watching some YouTube,
Yeah.
like I'm just envisioning because not the lead gen guy we work with, but this other guy was like, oh, dude, like all my agents, they only rip appointments at the time, and then quickly you realize that's all just total BS. And,
Yeah.
You have to work the numbers. So I like that. I think for a lot of people, they do weight that. And it's not like that 5 minutes. I mean, I want to get your take on this. It's not like that. My take is it's not that that 5 minutes is super important, but that stacked over time and that mindset of like, I don't give a shit if I've got an appointment in 3 minutes. Like whoever's on the phone with me that's interested in buying life insurance, that's the most important person, which might pop up 3 minutes before, that you call.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's true. I've never been like, I'm not a big guy on that either, where it's like, the 5 minutes stacked up over time is hours and that's days.
Yeah.
And then,
you do that for a week, I'm going to kick your butt.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm not like a big one of those guys. Like that's obviously true, but the way I see it, it's like, it's all like about your flow state. Like to me, if you're not just consistently who's next, and you're kind of waiting around or you're whatever, you're just losing your swag. Like, I don't know, when I'm like calling the next person, whether or not they're picking up the phone and I'm just listening to the phone ring, my head's in the game. Like I'm still just like, I'm here, I'm waiting, boom. So when someone does pick up the phone, I'm like in my flow state. And what I mean by that is I'm just like operating in my best self. Like I'm very clear. I'm very like aware of what's going on.
Yep.
And that's why I'm big on, I'll see some guys around the office, they're dialing and, they might have sports on or they might be like kind of watching something in the background. And I don't think that's going to be make or break by any means. And it's pretty innocent. But for me, it's like, I know that if my mind's somewhere else and I'm watching this YouTube and then someone picks up the phone, I'm just not quite like 100% on it like I would be if I'm just kind of staring at my screen. Because for me, when I'm listening to the phone ring, I'm looking at the name of the lead. I'm looking at what state they live in. I'm looking at the email. And so if I see the email is like a girl's name and the lead is a guy's name, I'm like, okay.
His wife
probably picked it up. So I want to be quick to be like, hey, Julie, like versus like, hey, Mrs. Patterson. And then, you know what I mean? It's like, it's like little stuff that can throw off the whole call. And if I'm just on it every time, I'm going to just sell way more.
Just sharp as a tack. I feel like it would be helpful if people listen to your opener. Would you be down to do that?
Yeah.
Just like give a quick opener. I don't even have to answer back and forth. I just want to hear what your opener's like.
Yeah.
Like when you first hop on the phone with somebody.
Definitely. So we work veterans, or at least I do, for the lead source. So when I'm talking to someone, I'm calling them up and they answer, hey, Bill. Yeah, hey, Bill, it's just Logan here at the Veterans Life Department. I just had a second to get back to you here about the information you had submitted. And it looks like you were just curious about the different life insurance options for veterans.
Just that same thing every time.
Yep.
It's
the same thing. And so, I mean, just to like break it down a little bit, like it's just the little things, but I love saying like, yeah, it's just Logan. Like it insinuates like, oh, you know me. Oh, it's not a big deal. Yeah, you filled this out, rather than like, oh, this is Logan. You're kind of insinuating in a way that like, yeah, you don't know who I am and here's who I am. And so it's just little things like that when it just makes people a little bit more curious in talking to you. And then once you're able to get into it a little bit more, then,
it's the same thing every time. I've heard that you say that same thing every time, just like you said that every single time, probably. I mean, this whole year, nothing changes. So that's cool, dude. So when you're answering questions from people that are like, are there any technical ways that you break up your day? Like, are you in between appointments, how are you dialing people? When you first get in for the day, what are you doing from 9 to 11 if you don't have any appointments scheduled? Or is your calendar always just overflowing with appointments? Do you have a dialer? Do you not? What's that whole process like for you? Like when you walk in the door 9 a.m., walk us through when you have appointments or not, and then if you have a dialer or not right now.
Yeah, so I've tried out a lot of different stuff. I've done like VA dialers, different things like that. What I'm currently doing, which I'm actually going to be rolling out to everyone here pretty soon, but I'm actually using an AI dialer right now that is calling my leads, just like connecting with them and attempting to live transfer to me. If they can't do that, they'll book an appointment, which was kind of the same idea as like what the VA was doing or when I was using a VA. But
virtual assistant, not the Veterans Association.
Correct. Yeah. So I'm just willing to like invest in the business and try things out, and like maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. And so I've only been doing this for like a month or so I'm not even.
How's it been going? Do you have any
100%
stats
positive
yet on it? Or if no stats, then like has it
I like it for sure. I think that to me, especially with like the lead source we work with, older folks, you're just going to find a disconnect when someone doesn't have an American accent, in my opinion. Like when I'm using a VA from the Philippines or whatever it is, it's like there's just going to be a percentage of people that are just not going to be as
talking with somebody that's from the Philippines.
Yeah, that's just not as open to that, which is just the world that we live in is what it is. But so that's one aspect of it, is like I like the idea of being able to have, someone that kind of speaks the language of the people that we're talking to, and also just has the ability to reach a lot more people. Like with a lot of these different AI dialers, there's like a couple different of them that are calling through the leads, if you will. Like they're almost 5 different individuals versus like one. So just creates more room. Like I'll always die on the hill of like doing something like that is not going to just drastically change your results. It's not the key. And I know it's not the key because I've been doing it for like a month and it's cool. And I do think it works to some extent, but I've also sold at a way higher level than I have sold in the last like month or 2 or 3. So, just being open to trying things out and whatnot. But to answer your question, in the morning, obviously depends a little bit, but I always have like a handful of appointments I might have, and they're typically earlier in the morning. I actually don't allow people to book anymore until 10. I used to always have it for 9. I don't know. I found myself, see, once again, I don't treat appointments like there's some like super high quality lead. And for me, I think I would rather spend the first hour of the day calling through like my brand new leads that came in the night before versus getting swamped up with like appointments or, people that are on the phone. It's like, cool, maybe those could be good prospects, but I like to be like the first touch, and like, especially if they just filled it out that morning, I want to call them up and get to them before, they're off doing something else or I can't reach them later in the day. So I just recently did that. Honestly, it just gives me some peace. It's kind of like, it's just easy to come in every day and I'm not stressed that I have like a 9 a.m. appointment that I have to worry about right then and there, but I can just come in and start dialing and then I can get to my 10 a.m. appointment. So yeah, I usually have a couple appointments. I'm also, when I'm calling leads, if I catch someone and they're not at a good time, a lot of the times, like, we just have to understand as salespeople, there's a lot of salespeople out there, and if we sound like everyone else, then people are going to treat us like everyone else. So when I'm setting an appointment, a lot of people, oh yeah, Bill, well, what's a good time for you? Like, when can we get you in? And then they're going to set the appointment, and they're going to be like, this clown, like, just sounds like everyone else. Like, for me, I'm like, I'm busy right now. And okay, did I catch you in the middle of something super important? Like, I'm not just going to take I'm busy right now. We're all busy, dude. Like, so I'm like, are you in the middle of something super important? And if they're like, yeah, if I hear there's craziness going on in the background, I'm not really trying to talk to them right then and there. So I'm like, cool, man, was actually just calling you up to figure out a time that we can actually review some of this with you. So let me go ahead and check my schedule real quick and see if I can even fit you in today. Today, are you going to be home a little bit later, or when's like a better time? 4:30. Let me see if that even works for me. I actually don't. I can't do a 4:30, but I can do a 4. Is that fine with you? Yeah, I'll do 4. It's like you are instantly already creating this gap of like, this guy's busy, this guy knows what he's doing, this dude's a professional, and he doesn't need my business. And I think when we just carry ourselves in that way, it's not like a manipulation game. Like, to some extent, like, I am busy and whatnot, but for the most part, like, I'm kind of saying it for that reason. But in my head, it helps me start to believe that I am that dude. Like, I don't like just getting I don't like feeling like I'm like the inferior in the conversation. And so I'm like, I'll just kind of check people. Oh yeah, call me back at this time. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really work like that, man. Like I got a lot of people I got to talk to.
Yeah,
I'll see if I can
status.
fit you in. Yeah. And like that just only helps with the way that your confidence and your just aura on the phone when you talk to people. I'm not going to let people walk all over me. I'm not the quote guy. Like I'm here to help you out because I know what I'm talking about. And 9 times out of 10, you don't really know what you're talking about. So let me actually help you out with that. And let's do this together.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to go through a list of objections and just see how you would handle them. You don't have to do it all word for word, but just all the basic stuff, basic questions that everybody asks. Like number one, when everybody's first getting started, leads. Working leads that are a couple months old, 6 months old, 8 months old. What's your mindset on 6 month, 8 month old leads when somebody first gets started? And then we'll go through some objections. But I'm just trying to put myself in a position of like a new agent or somebody that hasn't really hit that stride yet. I feel like that's what this is going to be most impactful for, is all those people with those thoughts that we've all had and we've all either overcome, or that's what got us out of the business.
Yeah. One thing I'll speak to, and then I guess I'll give some like practical advice on maybe how to like talk to someone like that. But number one is something that I'm becoming a lot more convicted in is just because someone filled out a lead that day, obviously, yes, they're interested if they filled it out that day, and chances are that's going to be a higher quality lead than someone from a year ago.
Sure.
But what I've also noticed is that timing is super key. And funny enough, if you just have the right perspective when you're calling old leads, it can help so much. You can have the perspective of, all these people are old leads. They filled this out a year ago. They probably aren't even interested anymore. And then my perspective is like, they filled this out a year ago. They probably got bombarded by like 25 different agents in the same week. They were probably sick and tired of it. They didn't get it figured out, whatever. And now enough time has passed and they haven't gotten a call. So when I revisit them about it, they're like, oh yeah, I never got that done. And it also, in a way, creates a sense of urgency because you're like, hey man, I saw you filled this out a year ago.
A year ago, what's been going on?
Did you ever end up getting that taken care of, or did you just give up on it? No, I didn't give up on it. Just and then they're gonna just throw out every objection that you're gonna get that they've been giving. They're I can't afford it, or everyone's been telling me it's gonna be a 2-year waiting period, and you're like, oh, that's weird. Like boom, 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 and then jump into it. So that's one thing with the perspective of it. And then when I'm calling people, I'm just very honest. Like I'm not here to sell everyone. That's another big piece of producing at a high level is like, you cannot just be like, I need to sell every single person. We need to have the mindset of like, how can I use my time super effectively? And an example of using your time effectively is getting to a no quickly. So if I call someone up, I'm just super transparent with them. I'm like, hey, Bill. Yeah, Bill, it's just Logan here. I just had a second to get back to you. I saw that you had filled out some information a while back and looks like we never got it taken care of. Did you ever end up getting your life insurance figured out, or did you just kind of give up on that?
And
like, how many people are calling them up, being like, giving them the out right away? Like, oh, did you just give up on that? Because one of two things is going to happen. They're going to be like, yeah, I gave up on it. Here's why. And I'm like, cool, man, let's get you crossed off here so no one else calls you. Cross them off. Or they're like, that was kind of weird. No, I haven't given up on it. I just haven't gotten it figured out. And now they trust you because you aren't like everyone else. Yeah, no, we got to get this done.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Because you give them an out.
Yeah.
And now they're kind of selling you on why they didn't give up on it,
Yeah, I love just like the games. And like, that's just the stuff you learn through training and understanding psychology and how sales works is if we sound like every other salesperson, people put up their walls. They don't want to talk to you. They're trying to do everything that they can to get off the phone with you. And if we talk so much differently than the normal salesperson, it almost like intrigues them and they like are more curious in talking to us, and then they actually trust us more. And it's just funny because it's like one person will be like, oh, manipulation. And then the other person is just like, oh, cool. That just like helps both parties because you're either just getting to the goal of it faster or it like ends up helping you out. So I don't know. I like that. Like another thing I love to do is if someone already has coverage, I'll be like, yeah, I saw you put down.
Another huge objection that everybody faces. No, I already have life insurance. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll speak to that actually because I remember being a new agent and I'd see like I don't have coverage and I'd be a little bit more excited to talk to that person versus the person that's like looking to supplement their coverage. And so just the same games, it's kind of like, cool, man, I saw you were looking at possibly once again, just like very neutral. I'm not assuming anything. Like, this is the beginning of the call. I'm trying to like get their guard down. Yeah, I saw you were just looking at possibly supplementing your current coverage. So do you already have some life insurance? Yeah, I got some coverage. Cool, man. What made you feel like you even need more insurance?
Yeah.
And, I'm like saying it in a way where I'm like, I'm kind of like, why are we on this call, man? Why? And then they're like, well, because the price of burial's going up and I got to leave my wife money. And then they're sitting there and selling themselves. And you're like, all right, man, I guess we can take a look and see if we can find anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
like, it's almost like you're trying your best to lose the sale. So that's what gives them, because like what agent says, like, you go in to buy a hat and you're like, well, don't you already have hats? I guess what made you think you might need another hat? Oh, I think that one's really cool because you're like, all right, I guess we can see if it fits your head.
Oh my God.
Where you're just like, it's almost like you just get paid by the hour a little bit. Where it's like, I'm just doing my job, man. But you're not like, well, yeah, that makes sense. You should, price of burials are going way up, Bill, and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Immediately he's going to sense that you're attached to this call and attached to the sale, and then they'll get turned off.
Definitely. Yeah. And it just happened today. Like I coach on this a lot, but I'm like, don't be scared to take the no. Like I talked to a guy today. He was looking to supplement, and the call started off. I was like, well, I mean, what made you feel like you even need more insurance? He's like, well, I only got $10K and I know the price of burial's going up and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And so I'm digging, and I'm like, okay, so were you just concerned about not having enough for the burial, or were you just wanting to leave extra money behind? And he's like, well, I don't necessarily need to leave money behind. I have my 401k, I have a savings account, so that's kind of taken care of. And I'm like, okay, cool. So you just want to make sure that if the cost of burial does go up, you just want to make sure the family doesn't have to pay for that. And then he just randomly changes up, and he's like, well, actually, I'm probably going to get cremated. Like whatever. And I'm like, all right, man, well, most cremations when everything's taken care of probably running you between $5,000 to $7,000, like just on the safe side, just to have enough. So you have 10,000 right now. That's going to be enough for cremation if that's the direction you're going. So do you feel like you even need life insurance? And then he was just like, no, Logan, I don't really think I do. And then I was like, awesome. Rather than going through the whole thing, dropping quotes, hearing the price, and then him like still coming to the conclusion that like, honestly, I don't really need this. And that's how you're spending your days, talking to people that are actually going to buy from you versus trying to sell everyone. And then it's just not good for your attitude. Like, I don't want to sit through a 20-minute call just for some guy to be like, yeah, let me mull it over, let me think about it. It's like, if there's not a need, like, this is the biggest thing I learned from my training. It's like, if we can't help people understand that here's where you are, and if we cannot create a gap of like, this is where you need to be, and we have a problem here. Like, a lot of the times agents are so surface level. They're kind of, oh, you need to get your burial covered, cool. And then they don't really like help them understand that, yo, you've got a problem here, and if we don't fix this, here are the consequences.
Right.
So in my mind, it's like, from the training, I didn't just learn, oh, I don't say all this ninja stuff to people or say it so much differently. It just changed the way that I look at a sales call, where I'm like, I am not going to progress in the sales call if I don't feel like there's a big enough gap that's been made.
Boom.
And then when the gap's made, I'm like, boom. And then to add to that, I'm kind of known as like the guy in the office that gets very intense with people on the phone and is not scared to just be like, look, dog, like, whatever. And you can't talk to people with this level of authority when you didn't create a problem. Because if it's very surface level, it's so much harder for you to be like, dog, like, you just told me, like, you don't have anything in place to actually cover this. So Julie's going to have to come out of pocket to pay for that. Versus when you actually build the gap, I'm like, first of all, you just don't get hit with a lot of those, like, I need to think about it, because there's nothing to think about. Like, think about whether or not we want to screw over the family. Like, that's just my attitude about my job. Yeah. I'm like, I just believe in what we do, and like, that doesn't make sense to me. What do you mean think about it, dog? There's nothing to think about. And I don't always talk to people like that. If it's appropriate,
but that's
I do.
the attitude. That's
just my attitude. And like, when you believe in your head as an agent that think about it is just not a real objection, and it never will be, it's going to change the game for you. And you just have to see it enough times.
But most agents, like you said, they don't have anything to anchor back to. So that can be a huge help for everybody, is really trying to do their best to create that gap. Like, even while you were talking, I'm like, dang, I could do a better job of creating a bigger gap, you know? Yeah. And you go through little spurts where you're like not as intentional, or at least I've gone through spurts of being super intentional versus not as intentional. And then you're trying to find the balance, you know, of not overdoing the why, versus, you know, digging in a But then again, at the same time, if you give them an out at the very beginning, or they say something that's off, like when you're a new agent, you're just happy to be on a presentation. So they might say something that's off at the beginning, like something about their wife, or they'd have to talk with their kid about, whatever.
Yeah.
And you kind of just take it, and then you just keep rolling through it because you're like, I just want to get that prezzo.
Yeah.
And then once you get to a point to where you're running enough ad spend to be able to get 6 to 8 presentations comfortably. Now, I would say this. I would say on old leads, you could still do that. You're just going to have to work harder.
Yeah.
But you're just excited to get on a presentation, so it's harder for you to like come from a place of authority if you're just happy to be on the call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus like you're not scared to lose the sale because you weren't going to make the sale in the first place. Mm-hmm. You're just going to screw over your time. And I feel like that's one thing that you obviously do super well, and all top producing agents do really, really well, is they guard their time. And they only want to talk to people that are interested in having a real conversation about buying life insurance, not quoting life insurance, not just, knocking it around in their brain. They get down to the root of stuff and come up with a real number that makes sense, Yeah. So I think that's perfect, man. So I think that answers most objection handling then in that case. Like, how would you answer, I need to talk to my spouse, which is a pretty typical one. It's like,
yeah, once again, in my head, you just have to convince yourself that it doesn't make sense, because then the way your tone when you talk to someone, what I've noticed is I try to, in the most respectful way, make people feel so dumb for saying what they're saying. They'll be like, I need to think about it. And I'm just kind of like, in my head, I'm like, think about whether or not we want to screw over the family. Bill, what are we talking about? Like, and so for the instance, like talk to my wife, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, talk to your wife whether or not she wants insurance money when you pass away. No, I don't want the insurance money. What are we talking about, Bill? Like, if you're wanting to talk to your wife, there's obviously something. Unfortunately, with most objections in my mind, I'm not even like a master objection handler. I won't even say I'm a master, but I am good at preventing objections.
On the front end.
And that's what happens when you really build a need and you help them realize there's a problem, is they don't feel the need to say, I need to talk to my wife. They're thinking, I got a problem and I got to fix this, and I'm the man of the house. Like, So even if I do get hit with that, my simple formula is, number one, we're on the same team here, and I'm not here to fight with these people. So if someone gives you an objection and you instantly just attack the objection to try to overcome it, 9 times out of 10, that objection is not even the true objection. So you just end up wasting your breath handling an objection that's not real. What I love to do is swat objections out of the air like they just didn't even say it. I address it. I don't act like they didn't say it, but I'm kind of like, yep, that's stupid. What's the real objection? And how I do that is I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So I agree with them, right? Because if I jump in and I'm, no, well, why do you need to talk to her? We just got to fill out this form to see if you're approved. Like, then their walls go up. So I just agree with them, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Walls down. And then I just get very real with people, and I'm like, all right, man, like, realistically, when you're talking to your wife here, is it a conversation of, do we even need the insurance, or how much do we actually need? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to say that, it's just kind of a fact of like, how much do we need? And just make it make sense. For me, I just feel like I do a good job of just like meeting people where they're at, making it make sense, and not talking too much. Because when you just talk, oh, we got to fill out the form, I'm like, all right, Bill, that makes sense. Do you mind if I make you a recommendation? Sure, Logan, go ahead. Mm-hmm. I always tie it back to the original need. I'm not going to start talking about random stuff. I'm going to say, cool, man, so it sounds like the main thing that we were trying to accomplish here is to make sure that the burial's covered for you. So whenever you do pass, your wife, Julie, isn't having to come out of pocket with everything. Is that right? Show them that you are listening. You're on the same page. Okay, cool, Bill. And then when we went over the quotes here, we looked at a couple options. This one was going to cover the burial. This was going to leave extra money behind. I know you wanted to do that as well. So what I would recommend, or my recommendation for you would be, there's no point in biting off more than we can chew. So let's go ahead and stick with the $15,000 of coverage here. Because what that's going to do for you, Bill, is it's going to fix your problem of having that burial covered. And when you and the wife talk, you guys can talk about whether you want to bump it up to the 20 or the 25, depending on how much extra money you guys want to leave left over.
Yeah.
Are you with me on that? And that just makes sense. Like, so many people are just like instantly like, honestly, man, like, yeah, let's do that. That makes sense. And then I roll into the application, and it's not this weird, maybe let's see if we get approved, let's post date it. It's like we're on the same page that we are buying something, and it's going to at least fix the main source of your problem. And then it gives them the peace of mind of being like, oh, at least I can like kind of bump it up. Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, people don't bump it up, but I don't care. I'm here to like make the sale and help and fix the problem. Yeah. It's like, that is the point of our job, is to fix problems, not give quotes and let people think about stuff.
Yeah, 100%. And it's all tied back to the need that you found out at the very beginning, you know, or, you know, in the first like 10 minutes. And then how soon are you trying to, so obviously you're trying to prevent every objection as best as possible, but you can always anchor it back on their why and what you guys came up with. How soon are you trying to get to numbers, going over numbers, like minute? You know, what minute mark?
Like 15 minutes, 20 at the most.
15 to 20 minutes at the most. Okay. And are you saying the same thing to every single person the same exact way all the time? Meaning, like, if it's somebody that hops on the phone, they're like, I just want to get quotes. Or like, yeah, I'm just kind of checking stuff out right now. Like, how do you handle those objections? That's what a lot of people run into.
Yeah, there's a fine line of, if you check someone too hard, they're just going to hang up on you, or they're not going to be with you. But it's like getting good at identifying what type of person you're talking to. So if someone comes on hot on the phone and they're just like, I need quotes. It's kind of the same formula as always, like, disarm them, interject and say what you need to say, and then move forward. So in that example, like, I'm just looking for quotes. Yep, that's no problem, man. That's kind of exactly what I'm here to help you out with. And Bill, you've been alive long enough that, you know, not everything's always as black and white as just picking out an option, buying it, you know, the number. So, and you just kind of frame it in a way of like, would this be helpful for you, versus like, here's how it's going to go, Bill. So I'm always just like, hey man, no, that's totally cool. I'm not here to waste my time. I'm not here to waste your time. So let's go ahead and do this. I just got to cover a little bit of what we're actually looking for, and then a little bit on your health. So then I can actually give you some accurate numbers, and I'm not just making stuff up. Would that help you? And just finishing that up with like, would that help you? No, that wouldn't help me. It's like, it just kind of like changes the whole vibe, where you're like, I'm not going to ignore what you just said. I will answer. And I said, yes, we will get there. There is a process here. This is kind of what this looks like, and give them some incentive to it. I'm like, I just want to make sure I'm getting you the correct information and not just throwing random numbers at you. Would that help you? Yeah, that would help me. And
versus like, that's not how things work here, Bill.
Yeah, for sure. So it's just like, you got to work with people and meet them where they're at sometimes, and just work with them. And maybe that person I'm going to be a little bit more like quick and to the point with, because they've already expressed whatever, but I'm not going to skip out parts of the sales cycle, because once again, if I am not creating the gap, that's why dropping quotes just doesn't work. Like, it's not about the price. Like, people will pay for anything that they actually want. They just need to know that they want it or need it. So dropping quotes isn't going to make someone magically be like, oh, that's actually a great deal. But building the gap and helping them realize that there's a problem is. So if we skip that, there is no sense in dropping quote. I just won't do it. I'm like, nope.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense, because you're just getting the people that are going to waste your time off the phone, or the ones that maybe were going to waste your time. Now they're taking you seriously, because they're like, oh, this guy's an expert, you know? Yeah. This guy knows what he's talking about. What was one other objection? I mean, we could do objection handles for the next 17 hours if we wanted to, but I think that makes sense, the process of it. So it's like, first of all, drop their guard down. Yeah, disarm them as soon as possible. And then the second step is finding the why together, or like finding the need together. What are some questions that you're asking to people that, I mean, you know, the people that say surface level answer number one, you know, like, so what made you think that, you know, blah, blah, blah. They're like, yeah, I just need life insurance. You know, how are you digging into a guy like that that's not as open as somebody that's like, I just need, you know, I need it for my wife because blah, 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 blah. They're a little bit more like on guard.
Yeah, two thoughts. So we learned a lot of good stuff selling books, and like, I'd take a principle we learned about the whole red flags thing. It's like, once I get my third red flag, I'm out. So if someone's like already off rip on the phone and they're just like not being very respectful of me or my time, and they're just like, give me quotes, da, 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 I'm going to handle it respectfully. And let's say we're proceeding with the sales conversation. We get into the need, and I'm like, yeah, you looking to get buried or cremated? Burial. Cool, man. Like, do you have anything put in place for that? I'm trying to think of an example where someone would just give you like a short answer. Let's say leave money behind. Like, no, I just want to leave extra money behind for my wife. How I dig into that is I'm like, okay, cool, that makes sense. And Bill, God forbid you were to pass away like today, what does that look like for Linda? Would she be losing out on a decent amount of your monthly income? Because what that does is it starts to help them internalize. That's like an important thing to be aware of as well, is like, you can't always just say something to someone and expect them to fully understand it. They need to like internalize that they actually have a problem. And some of these questions and you giving it room to land and breathe helps them really internalize. I'm like, so if you pass today, do you actually, or what does that look like for your wife, Linda? Is she going to be losing out on a decent amount of your monthly income? They start reflecting. They're like, oh, shoot, yeah, she's not going to be able to get my disability. I mean, she'll get my Social Security, but, you know, the disability at most will get cut in half. And they're like starting to internalize that they have a problem, AKA you're like creating that gap.
Yep.
And then I'm like, oh, shoot, okay, so it sounds like you're just trying to make sure you can leave as much behind to kind of supplement all that income that she's not going to have anymore once you're not here. And then like in their head, it's almost like clicking like, oh, shoot, like I do have a problem and I do need to get this fixed. Mm-hmm. Versus if it's just surface level and yeah, I'm just looking to leave money behind. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. And just proceed. You did not build a gap there. You're just stuck. So back to the whole red flag thing. If I'm like digging in like that, I'm doing it in a very appropriate way, I feel. I don't think that's like being weird. I'm just like, I'm being real. I'm like, look, man, like if you passed, what does that actually look like for her? And if they don't want to go ahead and like talk about that, at that point, that to me is like another red flag. I'm just like, is this dude even interested in insurance? And I might kind of like proceed, but I'm probably going to try to ask another question because I'm not going to move forward unless I build the gap.
Yep.
So at that point, I'll just like, hey, Bill, did you actually want to look at insurance? Like, is this something that's actually a priority to you, or like, should I just close out your file? And then that does one of two things. You get the easy answer, yeah, man, just close out my file. I'm not actually interested in this. Or they kind of tighten up a little bit and they're like, oh, sorry, man. Like, yeah, just here's why, da-da-da. And then they respect you a little bit more.
Exactly. So you either get them off the damn phone or they respect you, and then you have a productive conversation instead of wasting your own time. Dang, dude. Well, that's a lot of technical info for people to ingest, including myself. That's really good, though. It seems like the outline of it's simple. Drop their guard, or what did you say? You said
disarm them.
Disarm them. Step two,
like bring them back to the need, and just like have the respect to just kind of like verify that is still correct. Like that's what I'm like. Yeah, and it sounds like you were saying you just mainly wanted something that would cover the burial and leave a little bit extra. Is that right? Because then they're kind of like, yeah, I did. You're like reminding them, like, remember you said that?
Yeah, exactly.
Remember that's the problem?
And you're asking them.
Cool. Gotcha. All right. Bringing it back. And then it's like from there, then you just simply answer the objection if it's the real objection. I think I got off on a tangent there, but I was talking about just like swatting out objections. And like if someone's like, think about it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like it's kind of like water under the bridge to me. I'm just like, all right, that's not the real objection. And then I kind of dig into what I think might be the real objection. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So from like, and you can.
What was the question you asked? You said, do you even need, when somebody said, you said, are you mainly, tossing around, if you were to talk with your wife, just so I can understand what that conversation would look like if you actually need life insurance, or just, are you more so just tossing around the amount that you would need?
Yeah.
Some question like that. Cause then it's like, are you guys going to be talking about if you need to buy life insurance, or just how much you're looking to buy,
Yeah.
Cause they're two totally different things.
The goal is just always like isolating things. If there's too much variable or too much just like unknown stuff that's going on, it's way harder to actually like help. So I just try to isolate things. Like I don't use this a ton, but this is like a good way that people isolate the stuff. They're like, okay, so like price aside, like if the price was not a factor, which of these is actually going to solve your problem? Because then that starts to help them get in the mindset of being in results-based thinking versus cost-based thinking. That's another big thing, is like, I'm not really trying to talk about the numbers and this, that, and the third. It's like, hey man, this amount of money is going to solve this problem. I don't want you to look at this like this amount of money is getting you 10,000. Like 10,000 is irrelevant. What is 10,000? Like 10,000 is actually the solution to your problem, which is covering your burial and making sure she doesn't have to come out of pocket. So when we can isolate on
and attaching it to the real thing.
Yeah, and then it makes it like a little bit more emotional. It just makes sense. So
dope, dude. Well, a couple big questions before we close out. We're at the 45-minute mark, which is right on time, baby. 400K through July. What's next?
It scares me, but I mean, some of these goals I set at the beginning of this year scared me as well. But I would love to figure out how to write 100K month. That would be cool. My best month is like 81, so it's quite a bit more than that. So yeah, I mean, that's something that I think would be really cool that I'm trying to figure out how to do. And
up in that lead spend, baby.
Yeah, might be the only way. But that, and just finishing strong. Like I've had a great first half of the year, and just really trying to stay focused. And I'm starting to get to that point where I've done this long enough, and things have gone well, but I just really I committed to myself that this was going to be the greatest year of my life. I was going to make a lot of sacrifices, and these were going to be reasons why this year was great. And so I just want to stay hungry. And yeah, I'm really trying to just come harder than I've come the whole year, just because we're at the back stretch of the year here, and I got you creeping up on me in production too. So it's
you got a little asteroid. It's like you see it and it's smaller, and then you're like, oh shoot, and then you look the next day, it's a little bit bigger, and then
and that's the beauty of working with top dogs. It's like people keep you on your toes. It's like you can have that great of a year and like still be kind of sweating, being like, oh man, people are coming. So just keep your foot on the gas.
Dang, dude. Well, thanks for setting the standard in the office. Number one in the office right now by like what, 80K? So
yeah, I'm not sure.
We got some shit to
took down the leaderboard on that IP report. So
yeah, they did.
I don't know why we keep
dirty dogs. Last question to close it out. Just like we do every time. What do you think would be? I don't know. Give some advice. What do you feel like would be the most helpful piece of advice for an agent that's rolling with doubts right now, and is kind of questioning whether or not this is going to work, or if life insurance work?
Yeah, life insurance definitely works. I will say, if you're just not around the right people, or if you don't have the right team supporting you, I wouldn't encourage you to leave the industry, but I would encourage you to find a team that's actually going to like help, because that's so key. Like, I don't think it's a mystery that the agency does so well, and it's because there's a ton of like-minded people, and we're all helping each other out, and we're all doing the same thing. If you're just on your own island and you have no one that's there to like help you, you're probably not going to figure it out. That's just the reality of it. So that's number one. And then number two, it's like once you find that crew of people that is at least you have something to strive for. It's like it would have been hard for me to do what I'm doing this year if I didn't see you guys go out and have the year that you had, and then I was like, cool, here's the game plan. I just got to kind of do what these guys did, and whatever, just do that. If you have no one to look to that you can look up to, and you're like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing, you're just never going to figure it out. I don't know how that would even work. So that's one thing. And then once you find that group, just the difference between all the people producing, most of the time people are doing the same thing. They're saying the same words on the same script. And so what differentiates you is your mindset and what you're doing outside of work. And I will go back to the point, if you're not where you're at with your production, it's not because of this excuse and this excuse and this excuse. It's because you are not good enough yet. And so look yourself in the mirror and admit to yourself that you just don't have the skill yet. And what are you going to do to get the skill? What videos do you need to watch? What coaching do you need to get into? Like, what do you need to spend more of your time doing outside of work that's going to actually fuel your success in your work versus going home and watching football for 4 hours on a Saturday? Like, I ain't doing that when I'm not selling at a high level. So that's what I would say.
100%. Let's go. Well, that'll do it. Logan Reelfs, he'll be up next after he has his first $100,000 month. And the agency just hit, what was it, 1 million submitted last month?
A million.
We are actively recruiting agents, and the right ones, though. And you will get trained personally by Logan Reelfs every day, every second of every day, actually, by Logan Reelfs. So shoot us a DM. Anyhow, what you've just recognized and what you've just witnessed is the 8th episode of the Life Pros podcast rebrand. So
rebrand,
baby. Let's go. Bang, bang. Peace. See ya.